Let's get it. See, some people will see my thumbnail and think I'm being hyperbolic. They'll think that it's just merely clickbait. He's just trying to get us to click on to his cheesy videos. Here's the secret. I am trying to get you to click on my videos, but I also mean everything I said on my thumbnail. Now, before we get into it, I would simply ask that if you guys are enjoying my content, you go ahead and give me that thumbs up. Let me know that you like what I'm doing. Also, if you're not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? It's easy to do. It may not mean anything to you, might just be a click of a button, but to me it means a lot. So go ahead and help a brother out. Give me that HBO special by clicking the subscribe button, ringing the bell for notifications, and you will be notified when I drop content just like this, as well as when I go live. And speaking of live, after the show, especially after this tell-all, we are going live in full effect. We're going to talk about all the stuff we were screaming at the screen during the show and all the foolishness that we saw. And more to the point, we're going to do some code cracking, and we're going to start deciphering and breaking down some of these scenarios and what these people are talking about and compare to what they said before. It's a great time. So come and check us out right after the show on that live. Now, let's get it. When we talk about the power of Kody being together, and more to the point, Kody and Robyn together, and the impact that it has on the family. We're also talking about the impact not only that it has on the OG3, but we're talking about the impact and the consequences of the two of them being together in that union, and the consequences and impact it has on the other children. Because as Kody likes to throw around as he's trying to steal land for himself, I have 18 kids to take care of. But 12 of those kids actually come from Christine and Janelle, who are no longer with him. And one of those children actually comes from Mary, who is leaving him on the side of that mountain. So which leaves him with 5 kids. So being as though you only have 5 kids, you having 20 acres of land doesn't make a whole lot of sense for 5 kids. So we have to look at that, especially if you're only giving up 6 acres of that 25. Come on now. I can do math. Not a mathematician, but I can count higher than 20. That's for damn sure. Damn sure can count higher than 25 by a long stretch. So when we look at this, I make the argument that it's not just Kody. I make the argument that although Robyn has spent a lot of time being very quiet about what's going on as far as the family finances, we've all speculated that Robyn has been talking to Kody behind the scenes, that she has been planning and conniving the entire time. And I think that what we saw in last week's episode was proof positive that that's exactly what's been going on. Not only is Robyn not ignorant, unaware, and I have no idea what's going on. I don't know what's happening. I'm so confused. She is not confused. She knows exactly what's going on. And she's known exactly what was going on for years. For years she understood that. She understood the power of the legal wife. The only people who were sitting there playing the legal wife, not spiritual wife game was essentially Christine. It was full stop Christine. Mary was already the legal wife, and she understood the power of the legal wife. And that's why she was crying when she was forced to get a divorce from Kody. Janelle also understood the power of the legal wife, which is why she cracked a corny joke about the taxes when she was informed that Mary was going to divorce Kody, and thereby allowing Robyn to marry Kody and become the legal wife. Janelle had serious concerns that Kody would somehow mess up the dynamic of the family by favoring Robyn, and it could affect not only her but her children. This is years ago, back in season 8, this was an issue. Because Janelle, ironically, Janelle is the person whom I would have chose. Logically, Janelle, for me, would have been the most logical person to be the legal wife. Why? Not because Janelle was the one that he loved the most, to care for the most, but Janelle is the one who is by almost to almost to her own deficit, to her own detriment. Janelle is the one who has been looking out for the family and is all about polygamy. Janelle is the one who is making sure that Robyn was taken care of. Yeah, she admits that she never got along with Robyn. She was never friends with Robyn, but she looked out for Robyn and was a good teammate with Robyn to move the family forward. Janelle was such a good teammate, she cashed in her 401k to help Robyn pay off her debt that she brought into the marriage and into the family. She helped to make sure that Robyn was safe and secure so that way when she applied for her home in Vegas, she would qualify for that loan. That's how much of a team player Janelle is. And she didn't even like the lady. And she did that. That tells me that if Janelle was actually in charge of the family or in charge of the finances, which she's been the one taking care of the finances, but if something were to happen to Kody, Janelle would be the one to make sure that each one of the wives and their children were taken care of properly and they received their fair share. When it comes to Christine, I can see where she could be a little petty. No shot at Christine, but I can see where she could be a little petty. Smart woman, but I can see where she might, Robyn might get iced out. Because she don't like her. And Christine's not shy about, especially now, Christine is not shy about saying she doesn't like her. When it comes to Mary can be Mary. And Mary is going to look out for Mary. And that's not a shot on Mary. It's just that she's very assertive and she's very aware of her own needs. Especially when you start to free her of the shackles of being tied to Kody emotionally. Mary is Mary. So the best person is Janelle. But Robyn truly understood that. Now, as we talk about this, we also have to look at when they were sitting on the side of the mountain, what did Robyn say to Mary as to why she should have her share of land? And when Kody was asked about having that share of land, her response to Kody when she thought Kody might give up too much information. Let's take a look.
My lot will eventually be passed down to my children.
Right.
His lots will be more about more of the children. That's how I see it. Is that how you see it?
Not really, but
Really?
no.
How do you see it?
I see.
No. You don't answer right now because
No,
you're in a headspace that's not
Yeah, I know.
cool.
Now, I was, like so many other people, I was caught up in the fact that she basically told Kody to shut up and he was acting like a kid, like, oh, shucks, oh, okay, I'll be quiet, oh, well, I won't say anything else, boss. Like, I got caught up in that. And there is a point where you can look at it, you do a little code cracking. The point that Robyn was trying to make was, Mary, you're close to my kids, and it's important for my kids, the kids that you like, the people that you like, for them to have some type of inheritance. Look at this distraction. Don't look at the bigger picture where we're basically ripping you off. Look at this distraction of what I need. I need to make sure my kids are provided for. But speaking of that, she's talking about inheritance. So on her mind, in the front of her mind, when she talks about Coyote Pass is all about inheritance and passing something down to her kids. That's the whole purpose of Coyote Pass, to secure her children. And she understands that. In the same way she understands the importance of securing for her children, she would also understand the importance of the other children being secured. Other children meaning Mary's child, as well as Christine and Janelle's children. They should also have the security of inheritance from Kody and from the family. But she has no issue and no problem with excluding these other people. Even when they talk about Christine, when she left the family basically with her house, click, and then Coyote passed to Kody and the Brown family. Remember when she did that? How come Robyn wasn't sitting there arguing saying, okay, yeah, that's fine, Christine doesn't want to have this, but she needs to have some segment of this property for her children. And it's not just for her, it's for her kids, that we need to make sure we keep the family together. So even if we gave Christine just 2 acres and she had that, then she needs to have that 2 acres so that when she does want to come back or her kids want to come back, they can be amongst the family, because that's what's important. That's not what she said. What she wants to ensure is that her kids are taken care of. And even beyond that, when she sits there and and they talk about being together, and Kody says something to this effect, where he says, we're going to be together like this, and nothing is ever going to tear us apart, because me and Robyn are going to be together, and the world's going to have to recognize that we together, and we love each other, and we special, and we are the ones, because we all that in a bag of chips, and we so good looking together. Let me sweep my hair to the left, because I see the spot coming through. When they were saying all that, at the end of the day, what he was saying was, we are going to be together irregardless of what happens. And I can appreciate that. However, that further establishes the fact that they are married. They are married. This isn't his girlfriend. Unfortunately, fortunately, realistically, and I try to be honest on this channel without fear or favor. The honest response is, as much as I like the OG3, the only one who was married to Kody was Mary. Mary has a divorce. So any right that she would have to any of Kody's property ended once he was divorced. When you talk about the right to inherit, whether it's Mary's property, if something were to happen to her, Kody doesn't have a right to inherit. Well, if you talk about like, same, if something were to happen to Kody, Mary does not have a right to inherit from Kody. So that whole bullshit about, oh, well, Kody has 2 acres of land and he get to divide it amongst the other kids and other family members, and that's what it's there for. Those other kids would also include your kids, Robyn, because you have 2 kids, natural kids from him, that he sired, so they would be entitled, as well as the 3 children that he adopted legally would also have a right to inherit from him. So everybody gets a piece of those little 4 acres that you want to give to Kody, if that's what were to happen. However, there is another part where we can look at a little joke that was told on the side of Coyote Pass by Robyn with regard to Kody. Let's take a look at that.
You never know if Kody and I are going to stay together.
I mean, you never know. It's going to happen another 22 years down the road.
That was a bad joke, Kody. Sorry.
Think of a comeback.
No, I'm just saying, like, here's the thing. No, this is
10 years in, 12 years in, I wouldn't have thought either.
That was a bad joke. Sorry, sweetheart. I'm sorry. I apologize.
See, it's all a joke. It's all fun and games until it actually happens. Here's the thing. She says the joke, oh, we don't know if me and Kody are going to be together, implying that if me and Kody separate, then I want to take my 4, he's going to keep his 4. That's bullshit. There's not an attorney in the world, especially a divorce attorney, a shark, who is going to say, okay, yeah, he's got his 4, you got your 4, that's an equal division of the property. We're not going to ask for any more. No, what an attorney does is the attorney is not only going to not forget about those 4 acres that Kody has sitting out there on Coyote Pass and absorb those into 8, the full 8, so Robyn's 4 plus his 4, that's 8. He's going to look over there at Robyn's house, quote unquote Robyn's house, which is actually Robyn and Kody's house, and he's going to add those lots together and put them on top of the big pile. And in any other piece of property down there at Coyote Pass with Kody's name on it, he's going to add into the big pot and try to figure out a division from there. So essentially what Robyn is looking at is when Christine was talking about, well, when we get divorced, I should get half of everything. No, Christine, you don't get half of anything because you're not his wife. Robyn is in a position to get half of everything he owns, regardless of who else's name is on that property. Meaning that Janelle is just paid off. As a for instance, Janelle is just paid off the last 2 lots. It has Kody and Janelle's name on it only. They supposedly wrote Robyn's name off. If something were to happen to Robyn or Kody, Robyn inherits Kody's share of that property. It doesn't revert back to Robyn or Janelle. If they get divorced, a divorce court could look at that and say, you know what? We're going to go ahead, Kody is such an asshole, etc., etc. We're going to go ahead and give this share of property to Robyn on behalf of Kody, and they could strip Kody of his real assets and give it to Robyn. So in which case, Robyn and Janelle will be co-owners on that property. This is part of the reason when you're talking about this kind of family law, it becomes hyper confusing and hyper complicated. So in my opinion, the family would be best served if they just sold the property. If Janelle wants to purchase some property, just she purchased the property by herself, to herself, and keep it to herself, for herself, and for her kids, and let Kody do the same. But when you start mixing people's names on stuff, if you don't get along, anybody whose name is on that property can say, I don't want anything built on that property. Some people will retort to me, James, you don't understand. If they do this and they get a divorce or there's an issue or whatever the case may be, then they can build on a property and it comes out that they signed a document and it's supposed to be just for Kody, etc., etc., and Robyn doesn't have any rights to it. If any of the marital assets go into improving, maintaining, or developing any portion of that land that doesn't have Robyn's name on it, she can become or she can claim some share of ownership or interest in that land. Family law. And if you have anybody on here from family court, attorneys or whatever, they can attest that if you even own a property before you get married, but you use marital assets to maintain that property, then when you get divorced, your wife or your husband can go back and sue you for some of that property. Or they say they have interest in that property. So that's something that they have to be concerned about. Now, when I talk about this, and we talk about marriage, and we talk about Kody and Robyn's relationship, I think it's important that we also look at it from the perspective of when everybody knew what. Because Robyn isn't just figuring out that she has ownership and there's an estate issue. This isn't something that she just found out or discovered now that Christine has left and they're going to blame Janelle. And when these two left, I had to start thinking about myself and my kids. But before that, I had to consider the whole family because that's what I signed up for and all that. I suspect that's what we're going to hear at the tell-all. The truth of the matter is, let's pull and run the tape of her back in season 8 where Robyn or Mary came in and said that she was going to get a divorce from Kody. I think they forced her to get a divorce, by the way. They asked her to do it, and they presented it as her idea on the show so that Robyn wouldn't be viewed as the villain, which she is in this instance. Let's listen to what they had to say with regard to the importance and the prestigious position that the legal wife has within the family.
I know what this means, that what it could mean, if Kody were to pass. It would mean that I would be responsible to make sure that everybody's taken care of.
Now, when she talks about when Kody passes or when Kody dies, she'll be responsible for making sure that everybody is taken care of. Why is that the case? Because Robyn even then understood that the wife, the legal wife, inherits everything. Everything that was once his becomes hers. The legal wife inherits everything. But James, they have kids. The kids have a right to inherit. No, they don't. The only children who are protected if somebody dies are minor children. Kody right now only has one outside minor child, and that is Truly. Now, does Truly have a right to inherit half or Cody's share of said property over the wife? Absolutely not. What Truly would inherit in most jurisdictions is that Truly would inherit what would be the equivalent of support in a form of child support. So if you figure, like they go through the calculations, I don't know what Kody's income is versus what Christine's income, because it's a whole calculation that they do. It's not just what he makes, it's what Christine makes and how much he's contributing, how much he's involved, etc., 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 and all that. So there's a lot of calculation and tabulation that goes into it. What kind of bills does he have, blah, 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 blah. So there's a lot of stuff that they do. They plug in the numbers. Let's say at the end of the day, he owes $500. And it's determined that he owes $500 a month in child support. She can get a lump sum of that $500 in child support, which would be over the course of, say she's 13 now, over the course of the next 5 years, $500, that's 60 months times 500, that's about $30,000. If it's $1,000 a month, that'd be $60,000. Cool. You would take his portion of the millions of dollars of real estate that are in his name, and you would give her anywhere from $30,000 if it's $500 a month to $60,000 if it's $1,000 a month, and that's all she would be entitled to. That's it. And the rest of the kids could be disinherited. And that's why Robyn said that it's so important that I, as the legal wife, have this role to make sure that everybody is taken care of. But what does that also mean? It's her choice. And this also opens up to the possibility that if they get divorced, everything that he has is also fair game. And that's what I'm saying. Like, Robyn is systematically taking not just from the OG3, but from the OG3 kids and the products of those relationships. Finally, let's listen to what Robyn had to say with regard to her understanding of how a bad relationship could affect future relationships, or could affect the inheritance and how the property and things that the other wives receive.
We want this legal marriage to not matter, all of us do. But truth be told, it would matter if something big were to happen. You know, I know that my sister wives, they should trust me. The only reason why this is in my head is because I've seen plural families where a husband dies and a first wife or the legal wife is responsible for his estate. And I've seen some women abuse that.
So she's seen where some husbands may have died and the legal wife, the wife who is responsible for distributing the assets, decides that she wants to play selfish. And she keeps the assets and the other wives get iced out. Imagine that. A situation where, I don't know, you have a woman who says that, you know, she's been isolated. Her and her kids have been isolated from the family. They've been mistreated. They've been abused. They've been bemused. They've been treated poorly. They've been voted off the Brown Island. Imagine what that wife might do to the OG3 and their kids. Not pointing no fingers. She also said that in the event that something big happens, something huge happens, the wife has to step up to make sure that these things, the big thing that could happen is divorce. That could be a big life-altering situation or scenario, a divorce. If a divorce happens, then that opens up the family that they may lose a substantial amount of resources. That Kody's resources are on the chopping block from his legal wife. He is vulnerable. He is exposed. Now, even back then, one of my big things was, if I was thinking in that situation and as a logical person, for me, the logical choice for the legal wife to make sure that things are distributed fairly and equitably would have been for Kody to legally marry Janelle. I know he's saying now that he didn't love Janelle, but Janelle would have made sure everybody got their due appropriate allotment of Kody's wealth or whatever. They would have got a fair distribution. How do I know that? Because when Janelle talks about Robyn, she insisted her and Robyn were never friends, but they were good teammates. They worked together for the betterment of the family. In fact, when Robyn came into the family, Janelle cashed in her 401k to help Robyn pay her bills that she brought into the family and her debts to when she came into the family so that she would qualify for the homes in Vegas. That's what Janelle did, because Janelle was, even though she didn't like Robyn, she made sure that Robyn was taken care of because that's what she felt was the right thing to do. Like, same. If something were to happen to Kody, Janelle would make sure everybody got their fair share of the property and or his assets, so on and so forth. That would have been a better choice. However, because Kody has picked somebody who is telling him to shut up, telling him not to spoil the game, telling him to try to actively manipulate people so that she can get as much of the piece, a bigger slice of pie as possible. Because she's doing that, she's stealing from Kody's kids. That's my take. I'm James. This has been My Take on Reality, and I'm out.
'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH.